says journalist Joseph Trento.
Why wasn't Giza exposed? Well, the answer is Giza wasn't exposed because it may have been used for other operations in the past. It may have been a front for the U.S. intelligence service, most likely Israeli intelligence from the description of the people involved. While the United States and Turkey has had a very close relationship, there's no closer relationship than the United States and Israel. Now, why would the Israelis help the Pakistanis get parts for a bomb? Well, the only way they would do that is if the United States requested it.
On the outskirts of Islamabad, the recipient of Giza's detonators is now under house arrest. His name is Abdul Qadir Khan. A metallurgical engineer trained in the Netherlands, he was the father of Pakistan's nuclear program. It was launched in the late 1970s with the aim of matching India, which already had the nuclear bomb.
Companies in Turkey have helped Pakistan's nuclear weapons program since almost the beginning of Khan's effort.
David Albright is an international expert on nuclear proliferation. He knows the dark side of Pakistan's nuclear arms race and the role Turkey plays in the nuclear black market.
Turkey's a NATO member, it's close to Europe. There are many exports to Turkey that receive very little scrutiny, and yet those exports were then transferred on to Pakistan. And so, and one of the things that has been very frustrating is that the United States government knew about these kinds of antics early on.
In 1998, Pakistan carried out its first nuclear test. Abdul Qadir Khan became a national hero as the father of the Pakistani bomb. Or, as fundamentalists called it, the Islamic bomb.
It's quid pro quo. Remember, the goal in the 1980s was to defeat the Soviet Union and use Pakistan as an aid to Afghanistan in making that happen. And the Reagan administration gave Pakistan anything it wanted.
In early 2004, a huge international police operation uncovered the AQ Khan network, the most extensive nuclear proliferation network in history. Khan's principal associates, among them a number of Turkish businessmen, were arrested.
AQ Khan has confessed his crimes, and his top associates are out of business.
But Khan did not disclose all his secrets. Pakistan categorically refused to allow the Americans to interrogate Khan.
I think it's fair to point out that the Khan network is still operating. It's not been shut down. The Pakistanis have not been shut down. And top Pakistani officials, generals, public servants, etc. have been rewarded because of this activity. And the United States has done nothing.
There's concern that some kind of transfer happened to Al-Qaeda back when the Taliban were in control of Afghanistan. It's more speculation, but there's still worry that some people associated with Khan or the Pakistani nuclear weapons program provided some kind of assistance to Al-Qaeda.
For over 20 years, another woman had been on the trail of the nuclear black market. Her quest took her from Pakistan to Turkey along the old Silk Road, now a trade route for oil, gas, weapons and heroin. Her identity should never have been made public. But in July 2003, leaks from the White House led to the publication of her name and of the organization she worked for. Her name is Valerie Plame, and she worked for the CIA's Counter-Proliferation Division. The Plame affair soon grew into a scandal. Revealing an agent's identity is a federal crime. Who would dare to do it?
I and my former CIA colleagues trusted our government to protect us as we did our jobs. That a few reckless individuals within the current administration betrayed that trust has been a grave disappointment to every patriotic American.
The media interpreted the leak as retaliation against Valerie Plame's husband, Ambassador Joseph Wilson, who had queried George W. Bush's claims about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. The name of the company Valerie Plame used as a front was also disclosed.
She worked for a company called Brewster Jennings, and that Brewster Jennings apparently was working against the target of Turkey, meaning that Turkey was being investigated by the CIA as a proliferator of weapons.
The media failed to notice the disturbing similarities between the Plame and Edmonds cases. Like Sibel, Valerie Plame worked in the area of nuclear trafficking, and like Sibel, her investigations foundered when she approached the Black Sea region.
The name Valerie Plame, I was not familiar with that name until it became public. But if someone were to ask me about Brewster Jennings, that would be a different question, and it would be a different story, but a story that I could not comment on because, as you know, I cannot talk about the targets of investigations or issues, details that I dealt with during my work with the FBI.
What Sibel could not say was published in the Turkish newspaper Hürriyet in November 2005. One of Valerie Plame's and Brewster Jennings' targets was the American-Turkish Council. The Plame and Edmonds cases are part of the same story. That same month, the Supreme Court decided not to review the lower court decisions on Sibel's case. But Sibel's fate had in fact been sealed 3 years before, at a high-level meeting in Washington.
The state secret privilege was invoked not by the FBI, but by the Pentagon and the State Department. They requested that Sibel Edmonds not be able to speak on this issue.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry about Edmonds, and I'm sorry about Plame. I'm sorry about all these people. But I can name hundreds of others who've tried to stop things like this and seen it before. And this is a repeat. The difference is the Bush crowd plays rougher than any of them.
Penn American Center is pleased to present Sibel Edmonds with the 2006 Penn Newman's Own First Amendment Award.
Sibel may have lost her fight against the United States government. But in April 2006, recognition came to her via Penn, the prestigious International Writers and Journalists Association, whose members aim to defend freedom of speech.
Today, we are facing despots who use national security and classification to push everything under a blanket of secrecy, to gag and call it a privilege. Unless we recognize these attacks for what they are and stand up and speak out, no, shout out against those despots in government, then we are doomed to wake up one sad morning and wonder when and where our freedom died. Thank you.